Howdy guys, Lupin here, coming back at you with another Lupin's Weekly Update. Week 2 of raiding, and the content keeps coming. We are now on to the Mythic week that has launched, and the race to World First is underway. Limit taking the lead right now. Last I checked, only them, and I believe it was Pieces, have down Sludgefist on Mythic so far. But kind of where we're at with Reckless, mostly just kind of getting geared. We did a normal clear last week and got to see the Tichondrius fight, so we managed to do that, and we managed to clear, I believe it was 6 of 10 on Heroic as well. So right now though, the name of the game, and what I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about, was Convoke the Spirits. It's Night Fae Druid's class specific ability. And the shit is broken, to say the least, when you don't interrupt it. And we'll kind of talk a little bit about the PvP aspect of it too, because in PvE it just absolutely dominates on single target. Multi-target it kind of falls off a little bit because you have less control over, but the spell is essentially within a 5-second period you cast 16 druid spells, and they primarily focus on your specialization. So if I'm currently not in a form like I am right now, it's going to heal more. If I'm in Bear, it will cast Guardian. If I'm in Cat, it will cast Feral abilities, and same with Boomkin. If I'm in Boomkin, it's going to focus mostly on Star Surges, Starfalls, that sort of thing. But I had the opportunity to play with my buddy Hooker this week, and we were able to do some twos. Some footage of that's going to be playing in the background of this a little bit, but one of the things I'm just going to recommend anyone in PvP does is that if a druid is using Convoke, you blow your trinket and you interrupt them immediately, or stun them, or some sort of CC to interrupt it. It's a very good button to press, but as soon as it's interrupted, or in raid fights, as soon as you get stunned or something like that, it feels horrible. And it's such a huge amount of damage, at least for me in raid, on what it is. So timing that kind of in the right moments is perfect. There's also a shooting star that just went across the top there. It's pretty cool. Outside of that, I can't really tell you how many games I played of where people just didn't do that, but needless to say, it's super fun. Being on the giving end, not necessarily the receiving end, because we played against some Boomkins and some Ferals that it definitely hurt. Moving into Mythic Plus, that was a very rude awakening last week, and just kind of, I should say this week, Tyrannical. It was fortified last week. Now with this week it is Tyrannical. So getting some decent gear from normal and heroic Nathria, and I actually was able to snag the weapon that you see. It's a 213 from my week, the vault. So make sure you guys are doing that, because that is extremely helpful, even just to get that 10 key, or even just to clear one heroic boss, so you have a chance at those loot tables. Is definitely worth it, for sure. But for me, it's just some solid heroic loots helped. As far as the Mythic Plus goes, Tyrannical, as expected, is difficult as hell. A lot of the bosses feel like they're overtuned, or maybe we're just under geared, but it has been very, very difficult. Not to mention, at least initially, storming, the new effects for this season, which essentially spawns tornadoes around any of the targets in melee, was a little overtuned too, but Blizzard's addressed that. And then honestly too, just as it was expected, some of the harder dungeons like Sanguine Depths have obviously been a little bit more overtuned from what I've seen. At least I've heard others say the same thing. We did help out one of our old raiders gear up his DK, so we were able to get some low keys, and I actually was able to snag a couple upgrades in the process, which was pretty nice. And the fact that only 2 pieces of gear are dropping at the end of these dungeons means that yes, you are not getting as much gear, but then the upgrade chances are actually a little bit higher if you think about it, because you're less likely to get overall gear, which means when something does drop, you could actually use it most of the time. But let's talk kind of a little bit about the raid and kind of what that looks like. Obviously, Tichondrius is down for us on normal. Super cool fight. I'm really looking forward to that on Mythic, and even Heroic. We've been trying to at least push through. We got 7 of 10 in Heroic this past week. We spent all of our Thursday night, optional night, progressing on Council of Blood, which is pretty difficult if you don't know how to handle the Dark Recital. That was our biggest kind of issue, I'd say, with that whole fight, is the DPS check element of it, because the longer that you stay, or in the 50% of one of the boss's health, the more stacking debuff on the entire raid goes out, so it's just more and more taxing on your healers if your damage is not there, which was something we started to struggle with. I'm also going to be posting a link to a weak ore that we used for the Dark Recital, which essentially pairs 2 individuals and they need to run out of the raid. We had our entire raid that did not get Dark Recital move to the left, and then the rest of the raid that did receive Dark Recital move to the right. Just make sure you don't move along the stairs, because the gargoyles will hit you back. I had to learn that the rude way, I should say, or the unfortunate way, last Thursday. But we did manage, after about almost 3 hours of progressing on the fight, we did manage to get it down, which felt great. So as of recording this video right now, we are 10 to 10 on normal, 7 to 10 on heroic. We will be stepping into Castle Nathria, Mythic, excuse me, tomorrow, which will be Monday, and we're going to be taking a stab at Shriekwing. So I'll be doing the lantern, which, if you don't know, for that fight, the lantern is the only way you're able to actually see the little kind of like sonar circles that he sends out. So you have to have at least 1 to 2 people on lantern duty to move the lantern around to ensure that the rest of the raid can see that, and obviously not get hit by that, because if you do get hit by one of the circles, he immediately jumps to you and spawns a blood pool underneath the person, which is incredibly difficult to deal with when you're already dealing with the fact that you need to run out with other abilities that drop pools, and the raid room just naturally becomes smaller the longer the fight goes. Nonetheless, though, really looking forward to stepping into Mythic. Hopefully we can lock it down and get a chance at that awesome Mythic loot for the raid, and then also our great vaults, and also just as a guild, just so we can kind of continuously keep pushing, now that normal and heroic have definitely felt like they've eased up a bit. So look out for some of that content. I'll be streaming that on Monday from 8 to 11 when we have our raid. Outside of that, I've been mostly focusing on my monk, who Luke Chi got to 60, and I plan on just kind of gearing him up for some PvE and PvP. Right now, monk is broken. It feels like in all content, but I have a feeling at PvE it's probably a little bit more normalized than it is in PvP. PvP, they're pretty disgusting right now. But I did manage also to snag my rank 3 legendary boots for my druid, which felt really good. I'm looking forward to getting that rank 4 very shortly, so then I can start, you know, making some resto or guardian legendaries or feral legendaries. I have almost all of the legendaries unlocked in my druid. I'm just trying to get the boomkin best in slot done first, mostly for raid progression, and then after that I'm going to be dabbling in a lot of the other ones, so look out for some of that content once we get the rank 4. Torghast, I should definitely mention that, was extremely overtuned for 7 and 8 layers, 7th layer and 8th layer. So Blizzard actually did respond, and I got to give them credit fairly quickly for this, because they did actually respond and nerf it. I'm afraid that they've really just hit the nerf bat very hard with it, though. Hooker and I did it, and it was just absolutely disgusting how easy it was. So my hope is that they add some other elements to it, maybe that bring back some of that difficulty, maybe with more of the patches or anything like that, but we shall see. And then outside that, I'll be mostly pushing some 2s potentially, just to try to get the weekly cap and kind of continue that conquest build. And I really like the transmog 2 for 1800, so I will likely be pushing that. Next week is the holiday, so a little bit different. I'm not going to be traveling too much, so I will be playing a little bit. Expect to stream on Wednesday with the guild. We're going to be, I'm sure, pushing Mythic again. If not, we'll likely just go back to heroic to continue to get gear. And then outside of that, I might be streaming a little bit, that Thursday through Sunday. We'll see. We will be doing our optional night on Sunday this upcoming week, in addition to actually tonight on 12/20 doing the normal as well. So outside of that, everyone, thank you for watching, and stay safe out there, friends. We'll see you later. Bye.
I got boss.
In it. Kawnch.
I'm pointing him outside. Careful.
Alright, good. Stack on me, go straight with the recital.
Next stat is...
Listen up, save all of your cooldowns. All of them. Straight.
Fuck.
2 reses. Get Greg up and smokes. Right now, Greg and smokes.
We got it.
Fine. We're fine. Yeah, save all of your cooldowns.
Next ad is gonna be barrier and darkness when the ad spawns.
Remember, we do have to do the recital during that, so just don't die and burst it, pod and everything, like all your personals during it.
Let's just grab him in the back.
Me deep. Yeah.
I'll grab him after this.
Okay, stack on me, recitals go straight, and save your cooldowns.
I'm pulling him here.
So you call it big.
Yeah, I got you.
Stay here, we're good. Stack and stop moving.
2, 1.
Recitals go straight. Everyone else move.
4,
Don't be in front of the boss.
2,
Careful.
1.
Alright, take him.
Okay, get ready to find the ad, and we kill all cooldowns.
Remember, barrier and darkness on top of the ad as soon as you find it.
If you're dancing, just live. Don't bring it on top. Find it. There it is in the back. Dance. Don't die, just kill.
Go ahead,
And then
link
get
it,
ready
smoke,
to
link
get on
it,
the
link.
He's dancing.
Get on the zone. Beautiful.
Boss is pointing.
Now
Look
stack
at
on
his
me and
face. Look
kill.
at his face.
Stack
Get
on
away.
me and kill. We're fine.
Get away from him.
Just stack on me, we're fine.
Calm down, guys.
Talk.
4,
Go ahead and use
Straight.
salve.
2, 1.
Salve when you can, Elena.
Alright, that's 2.
I'm dead.
Oh, you can't. Okay.
Guardian Spirit on Lamb.
Just kill him, he's dead.
There we go.
Face him into the
Jeez.
That's a tough
God.
fight.
It's a very tough
Yeah,
fight.
I saw a couple healers just standing right behind him, so I was